They ran the numbers 3 times before anyone believed it. Earth had more confirmed kills than living humans. The Dominion war room was silent after General Shern of the Viseri Dominion read the report aloud. 17 billion confirmed hostile. Terminations. Earth's current population. 8 billion. He looked around at his council, voice barely above a whisper. That's 2 kills per human, minimum, and they're still alive. Across the room, the second-in-command Cran flicked, his claws against the holoscreen, nervously refreshing the projection. The galaxy had seen brutality, yes, the Trog Wars, the Scourge Purge, but this was different. This was relentless. Operation Restraint. They called it the largest invasion in Dominion history. It had started as a simple conflict over a mining asteroid, then another skirmish, and suddenly entire fleets were vanishing in the darkness. The Terran conflict. The war no one in the galaxy had wanted, but now everyone was watching, morbidly fascinated. Shern leaned over the table, voice hoarse. Is it a glitch? He demanded, but even he knew better. Kran only shook his head. On the flagship Bascaruth. Kran spent sleepless hours watching combat footage. A human leaping from cover to hurl a rock at an armored Dominion officer. No less. The rock clanged harmlessly off a helmet, but the follow-up attack, a shovel, left the officer crumpled. The human laughed, sprinting through chaos. Why would someone charge an armored squad with a shovel? Kran muttered, rewinding the footage. Again and again, he got no answer. Meanwhile, on the mud-choked world of Garrus 3, the United Coalition's 23rd Infantry Dustmakers waited for the inevitable. Captain Briggs, their commanding officer, was carving tally marks onto his tent pole with a spoon. 300, sir, Corporal Jenkins reported, eyeing the pole with concern. That's more than we have rifles. Briggs didn't look up. We had 3 grenades last week. Now we have none. Morale's up, though. Jenkins nodded sagely. Private Herrera killed a lizard thing with a harmonica. Briggs blinked. Good. A drone buzzed overhead. Briggs shot it down with a rubber band and a nail. Jenkins just whistled, wide-eyed dot, and when the Dominion landed, they did so with textbook precision, carriers unfurling from orbit like black petals, artillery thunder shaking the bog. They expected resistance traps, mines, missiles. They did. Not expect barrels of honey, Private Shaw had laced the beachhead with explosive honey barrels and surrounded them with speakers blaring bagpipe music. The first Dominion landing wave paused in confusion, then the barrels exploded. 50 Dominion troopers gone in the first 5 minutes. The next wave came faster, only to be met by humans in ridiculous camouflage-painted armor, sunglasses with fake mustaches glued on. They charged, screaming, toward the invaders. One yelled, "Who's hungry?" Before tackling a Vascari officer into a crater, up in orbit, General Shern and Kran watched in horror and disbelief. Why is that human wearing a traffic cone? On his head, Shern asked. Ceremonial, perhaps. Kran suggested, though he sounded far from sure. On the ground, Captain Briggs stared at a human who had just rolled down a hill in a barrel covered in fire-retardant gel, screaming patriotic thunder, and flattening an enemy command post. Jenkins watched, awestruck. Was that planned? Briggs shrugged. Not really. Still better than the jet-powered wheelbarrow. They both grinned. The kill count kept rising. Kran replayed the landing footage for the 3rd time, trying to make sense of it. Each viewing brought new confusion. Dominion analysts had expected organized defense, desperate last stands, and grim tactics. Instead, they found chaos and creativity. Barrels filled with honey and nails, minefields disguised as chess tournaments, and speakers playing bagpipes at frequencies calculated to drive non-human invaders to distraction. General, Shern's claws dug furrows in the war room table. This is not strategy. This is madness. Kran pointed to a data feed. Yet it works. Dominion casualties, 5,000 in the first day. Human casualties, 12, most from their own traps. Down on Garrus 3, Captain Briggs and his company. welcomed every strange moment with a mix of exhaustion and glee. Private Herrera had rigged a drone to drop confetti and marbles. When Dominion squads stepped into the clearing, they were met by a hailstorm of color and chaos. Even the enemy officers couldn't keep straight faces. Every time they land, Briggs mused, they expect a war. We get in the circus? Dominion commanders adapted as best they could, ordering their soldiers to ignore distractions. Yet, every attempt to regain control was met with new, bizarre obstacles. The humans named their traps. Gerald, a minefield disguised as a chess game. Linda, helium tanks, mannequins, a chainsaw on a spring, and Big Charlie. Mystery no one dared explain. The Dominion requested a ceasefire to exchange wounded. Humans sent bears in wheelbarrows, eating sandwiches and playing cards. The aliens watched, confused. A Dominion medic noted, they treat war like camping. Another replied, no, like performance art. General Shern was furious. We are losing to pranksters? How is this possible? Krat replied quietly. They weaponize everything, even morale. In orbit, Dominion targeting systems glitched, registering hundreds of false positives. The humans had started making decoys cardboard, cutouts with faces drawn on in crayon. Some were rigged to explode with glitter or fire confetti into the air. One cutout, hit by a Dominion plasma bolt, set off a chain reaction that burned down half a field encampment. Shern's rage curdled into dread. We need to adapt. On Gears 3, Briggs sipped coffee as thunder rumbled overhead. We've got 3 rifles, a tank named Kevin, and a squirrel we accidentally taught to fear Dominion uniforms. Let's call that Air Unit 4. Jenkins grinned. Morale still inexplicably high. Good, said Briggs. Let's keep it that way. The next wave of Dominion landings met with fresh chaos. The Uncles had arrived, Earth's most notorious veteran unit, known for turning any battlefield into an ungovernable backyard barbecue. They wore mismatched gear, cargo shorts over armor, hats shaped like animals, and wielded discipline. Sticks. Basically long steel rods for poking traps and sometimes each other. Their leader, Reed, introduced himself to Captain Briggs with a handshake and the smell of burnt coffee. You boys been playing war without us? Trying to keep busy, Briggs replied. You brought artillery? Reed winked. We brought lawn chairs. The uncles dug trenches with folding chairs, strung laundry for camouflage, and rigged tripwires to weed whackers. Dominion hover. Scouts became soup kitchens. Morale soared. The Dominion responded with increased firepower and new psychological warfare units. The humans, delighted, hijacked Dominion drones and programmed them to play polka music and drop candy. One particularly enterprising uncle duct-taped kitchen knives to a drone, dubbed it Stabby, and launched it toward the enemy. When it returned, it was painted purple and played Ride of the Valkyries. Dominion officers watched, demoralized, as humans turned the tide of war with humor and mayhem. Every defeat seemed to inspire greater creativity. Every loss, however small, was a chance for a new inside joke or nickname. The tank Kevin, after being hit, was patched with a grill and started barbecuing in between shots. General Shern's. Patience finally snapped. I want a full withdrawal. Recalibrate for orbital strikes. Sir, Kron hesitated. Our men are still down there, and so are the humans. They now outnumber us 3-1. Shern froze. How is that possible? They scavenge, reverse engineer, and adopt enemy equipment, Kron explained. Every time we send more, their numbers increase. The kill count rose. The humans kept laughing. The Dominion tried everything: shock troops, mind games, sonic, weapons. Each time, humans found a way to turn their plans inside out. Their commandos broke through enemy lines not in silence, but singing karaoke and hurling water balloons. One day, the battlefield erupted into a game show. Private Miles, in a dazzling jacket, spun a wheel labeled Wheel of Kaboom for any Dominion soldier unfortunate enough to trigger a trap. The prizes ranged from confetti cannon to a surprise paintball ambush. Laughter echoed through the swamp. Dominion drones were hacked to play bagpipes and drop packets of ketchup. Their psychological warfare specialists were driven off by rousing speeches about coffee machines and potato tactics. Shern watched in horror as the Cannonball Brigade, volunteers in drop pods painted like sharks, screamed down through the atmosphere, landing in the middle of his best units in sewing. Chaos. The Dominion's kill count ticked higher, but their soldiers couldn't keep up. Human casualties remained inexplicably low. Most were accidents, or occasionally the result of an overzealous squirrel attack. Jenkins reported to Briggs under a tarp. "We have 3 working rifles, 1 tank, and morale higher than ever." Briggs smiled. "Today's chaos menu: confusion, chaos, and, if we're lucky, barbecue." General Shern, exhausted, slumped over his console. "They're tricking our targeting systems with crayons." He muttered .krn, zoomed in on the battlefield. Soldiers in wheelbarrows. Drones humming songs, humans playing cards under fire. Shern stared, silent for a long moment. "I am learning to hate." Prawn just nodded. "We're learning to. But it's not enough.